Won't steal much more time now, and I'll turn the mic over to Nico. Nico, thanks for being here.
I am delighted to be here. It's really fun to see these chats coming in and see people calling in from all over the world, from everywhere from the United Kingdom, which is very far from where I am, to Brookings, Oregon, which is pretty close to where I usually live. At the moment, I am in Whistler in British Columbia on the west coast of Canada, and we're having also a cool, wet morning here. So today I would love to talk about emotions, and in particular, working with difficult emotions. For any of us who are alive, we have some version of difficult emotions coming up sometimes. And for those of us who might be suffering with chronic pain or illness or other kinds of difficulties in the body, emotions are very likely to arise for us. So what I want to do today is lead us through a meditation that is going to get us in touch with our emotions, give room to those emotions, and investigate those emotions a little bit, then nurture. So this is an acronym. It's called RAIN, R-A-I-N, where the RAIN stands for recognize, and the A is for allow. So the A is for allow, and I is investigate, and N is nurture. So I'm going to walk you through this meditation together. It'll take about 15 minutes, and then we'll have some conversation after that. So if you could find a nice, comfortable meditation posture, you might just settle into a chair, settle into the couch. If you're able, it's nice to have a little bit of upliftedness in the back so that you feel awake. But the most important thing is just to feel relaxed. Just release, relax your shoulders. Release and relax your arms. Release and relax your hands, your belly, your back. You could allow your eyes to close or just gently soften your gaze and begin the process of arriving here in this body, in this heart, and in this mind. If it's helpful, you might take a deep breath or two, really feeling the breath as it comes into your body, feeling the breath as it moves out. Sensing how it is to be in this body in this moment, right now, the good, the comfortable, the easeful, also the uncomfortable, maybe the unpleasant, just with a sense of welcoming whatever is here, whatever you touch or find. And from this space of being a little more connected with your body, I'd invite you to call up a situation in your life that is giving you a little bit of difficulty. Not a really, really hard situation. Don't pick the thing that is the most overwhelming because we're just playing here. We're just training a little bit. So pick something that's workable. A situation that's a little bit challenging for you. Could be physical, could be relational. Really allow that situation to come to mind, the details of it, who's involved, what's it feel like? How is this situation for you? And in particular, are there any emotions see if you could find just one, just maybe one or two emotions that arise for you as you allow this situation to occupy your mind and your heart. Could be fear. It could be irritation. It might be a mix of positive emotion, joy, contentment, and also difficult emotion like anger. So, really taking about a minute in silence, settling into this situation, and naming one or two emotions that arise. And once you have taken that minute or two to recognize the situation at play and name an emotion or two, I'd invite you to really allow this emotion to take up as much room as it needs in this moment. For most of us, a lot of the time we spend some energy managing our emotions, trying to improve our emotions, maybe even try to get rid of our emotions, minimize them. And that makes a lot of sense because emotions can be overwhelming sometimes, especially difficult ones. But in this moment, in the safe container of this meditation, I would invite you to really allow, give space, a lot of room for whatever feeling might be here, whether it's anger or fear or joy or sorrow, sadness. Really let the feeling take up some space. Let it really move through. And again, I'll give you a minute or two in silence to allow this process to move. And now that we've given ourselves some time to recognize what is the situation, name a feeling, an emotion, and we've given that emotion or two emotions some room to really play, to move through the body and the heart. And do a little bit of inquiry, investigation. I'll ask you a few questions one at a time. And the idea here is not to have a perfect, intellectually satisfying answer. It's more like dropping a pebble into a still pond and just watching the ripples. So the inquiry is just dropping a question in and then seeing what the heart and mind do. Just observing, just getting really curious. When I ask you a question like, what's the most painful thing you're believing? You have this situation, you have this emotion. You might ask yourself, what's the most painful thing that I'm believing about this? And take a moment in silence. What's the most painful thing? And a second question, another question to ask yourself. Again, not thinking it through, but almost like you're feeling it through. What's hard about this? I'm asking myself, what's hard about this for me? Just letting that question settle in and just noticing what happens in the body, in the heart, in the mind. And a third, final question. What's needed here? What's needed? Just asking myself, what's needed? See what comes to mind. And now releasing that mind of inquiry, of questioning, you might just put a hand on your belly or a hand on your heart, if that's supportive for you, and receive the warmth of your own hand. Just feel the sense of nurturing that can come from touch. If you're somebody who benefits from words, you might silently offer yourself some words of encouragement. Words like, this will be okay, or may I be happy. Whatever words work for you, your own words for yourself. And if you're somebody who benefits from imagery, visualization, you might imagine a caring figure in front of you. It could be a grandparent, uncle, aunt, third grade teacher, pet, spiritual figure. Somebody who really embodies love and compassion in your own heart and mind. Just imagining them looking at you with total understanding, looking at you with love. Now, you don't have to do all three of these. If you're somebody who just benefits from touch, that's enough. If words are beneficial for you, that's enough. Or if image is what's most supportive, that's enough. Or you could do two, or you could do three. Whatever is going to be the most nurturing for you in this moment, just follow that. Really receiving this care. And now taking a few deeper breaths. You might open your eyes if they were closed, look around, see where you are. And sometimes these meditations on emotions can be very intense. So it's helpful, this is called orienting in psychology. It's helpful to look around. You might look behind you and see, oh, I'm in a safe place. I'm in a good place. Look above you, look below. Things are okay here. Really, things are okay. Yeah, stretch. If your body feels like stretching any way that feels good to you, you could just rock back and forth, roll your wrists, whatever's going to be most nourishing. And I intentionally left a lot of time today for questions, reports, because of, my goodness, emotions. Emotions can be so much. So why don't we start? How was that? For those of you who can type in to the chat, I would love to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. Don't worry, I won't be hurt. How was that for you? What parts of it were beneficial? What parts of it were maybe not? How'd it go? Best yet. That's a thumbs up. Wonderful. Asking how hard was tough. I felt alone in my task. Yeah. Feeling alone is the hardest part of difficult emotions, I think. It was awesome. Very good. It's amazing to me. Whoops. It's amazing to me how my mind and body know what's going on and what I need, but I can't usually hear them unless I'm silent. And this is the key of meditation, becoming silent to access our own deepest resources. Another one, so relaxing that I dozed off multiple times. Fantastic. Very surprising. Interesting. Hi, Sharon and Sandy. Quite relaxing. I have dystonia in my neck. Ooh, so really feeling the discomfort, the unpleasant in the neck. It was interesting to have resolution in a short order when we were done. Interesting. So feeling that sense of overwhelm and aloneness, but then resolution when we were done. And that is the process of really deeply working with emotions, is that sometimes it roars up like a wave and we need to give it space and we need to have some kind of tools to work with it. And then it's like a wave that passes if we have the tools and give it the room. And it's very helpful, of course, to have community. It's very helpful to be together in this, knowing that there are people all over the world who are meditating with you, who are having their own emotional lives, who have their own diagnosis that is a lot like yours, who are working with some of the same physical sensations. It was interesting. The opportunity to rein on my emotion offered a great deal of clarity. It opened my eyes to the hope I'm really feeling underneath the initial emotion of anxiety. Excellent. Brought up bad, unforgivable, question mark, things I've done. Oh my goodness. I have had so many moments like that in meditation where I close my eyes, I get quiet, and I think about something. For me, it's like something I did when I was 17 years old, and I still haven't forgiven myself for it. something I did driving, or, some completely random act that really was pretty wrong, right? But it's 40 years ago, and I've been carrying it this whole time, and I didn't even know it until I got quiet. And then that sense of guilt. So just a thought, there's a forgiveness practice that's also really helpful. For those of you who during meditation have these kinds of unforgivable feelings, I did this thing and it cannot be forgiven. You could do rain on that. And then during the nurturing phase of rain, that was the part where we put our hands in our hearts. We offered ourselves words, maybe. We had an image. You might just add this phrase, may I forgive myself? Or may I be forgiven? And if an image is powerful for you, you might allow the sense of that person who knows you, who loves you, whether it's a spiritual figure or somebody from your life, allow that they could know you in your fullness, in your totality, all of the good, and also all of the difficulty. And really allow that sense of them having compassion for you, caring for you, to penetrate your heart as you say this phrase, may I be forgiven, or may I forgive myself. So that's one possibility, to work with those feelings of somehow being unforgivable for something we've done in the distant past or very recently. The nurture time was unique and such a self-help. Yeah. It felt much longer than it actually was. I felt so very relaxed. Excellent. To be very honest, I appreciate a male voice. I don't hear those tones very often. Thank you. You're welcome. So we have about 4 minutes. Any questions that came up for you during, oh, wonderful. Krista posted again this acronym. RAIN is recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. So any questions that came up for you during this meditation as we are moving through? And again, the recognize is recognizing the situation and a feeling. The allow is allowing that emotion to have all the room that it needs. The investigate is asking some inquiry questions. Questions like, what's the hardest part? Or what's needed? Those kinds of questions. And the nurture part was those 3 parts of just putting a hand on the heart, giving myself some words of encouragement, or a supportive image. And again, for some people, the image doesn't work. For other people, the touch doesn't work. All you need is one. Okay, why pick something that isn't the most overwhelming? That's a great question. Thank you for that. Because we're training in this method. So when we first begin with this method, we want to pick something that is workable. And once we sort of build up the muscle, once we've done this method a bunch of times, maybe 10, 11, 12 times, and we really feel comfortable in it, and we know the progression of the different phases, and we have a lay of the land, then we gradually start working with more and more difficult or overwhelming aspects of our lives until we use this meditation to work with the most difficult parts. So we do get there. It's just not where we start. It's a little like lifting weights. Like you start with some of the lighter weights, and then you add weights. Here's another comment. I struggle to understand how I can be anyone other than who or what I am. Yeah. I think you want to be fully who and what you are. So we're not meditating in any way to change who or what we are. It's more like we are doing the meditation in order to give full room to who and what we are, and then be able to make choices about how that expresses in ourselves and in the world. So we're giving ourselves a choice point about how to move in who or what we are, but we're actually not trying to change who or what we are. just becoming more skillfully present to what's here. Daily access to similar meditations online. Great question. I'll type this into everyone. So Tara Brach, who's a very well-known meditation teacher, has free rain meditations online. If you type in Tara Brach and rain, it should come up very easily. I learned this meditation from Tara. She's also a very delightful teacher, very helpful, good resource. Maybe time for one last question. Thank you. Oh, well, there you go. Krista is so on it. You can just click on that link that magically appeared in the chat. Okay. I think that's what we have time for. It's a delight, as always, to step into your space. Thank you for inviting me as a guest, and I can't wait to see you next time.
Thank you, Nico. Again, our next live English session is July 31st. So I will see you guys right here, same time, same place, in a couple weeks. Be well, be healthy, and be happy. We'll see you then. Bye bye.